we actually just got something hot off the press, which is that Trump has just pardoned CZ. Okay. And this is fascinating. CZ, for everyone, is the founder and CEO or former CEO of Binance.
That's
Okay.
crazy.
And we talked about him a couple weeks ago
We
and
did.
how he ended up in some legal trouble because he did not prevent the use of his platform and violated AML KYC laws in the past and served a short stint in jail, but has now actually been pardoned from his sentence. Now, the timing of this, guys, I haven't had a whole lot of time to think about this, but the timing of this is pretty wild. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to show a quick tweet and we'll also look at some of the comments on it so that we can see what other people are saying at the very minimum. Because this right here is just let's see what people are saying. Curved Out Soul says crime season. Okay. All right. All right. Interesting. Shibo, who's a pretty big influencer in the space, he says CC paid 500 million for this. That is why the market crashed on October 10th. Trust me on this. Okay. Interesting. Interesting. Trust Wallet says we are so
We're
back.
so back. So why this is a big deal? Like CZ is a very polarizing figure within crypto. A lot of the price movements and people saying the price is being suppressed or people are being washed out from their leverage. Like he's a recurring character in all of this. And as Keith mentioned, he did face legal issues. So yeah, that's wild that Trump decided to pardon him.
Yeah, 1 week after their platform failed, one somewhere in the world shorted Bitcoin, made a few hundred million, and now we have this pardon. So it's not even like a crazy thing to think, oh, maybe there was some connection to these events. It's like, hey, I need you to do me a favor. Favor got done. Okay, here you go. By the
We're all
way,
good. Yeah, you
yeah, we're
scratch
all
my
good
back,
now.
I'll scratch your back kind of deal. It's almost like they don't even try to hide anything anymore. It's kind of insane, but that's hot off the press. So if you're in the chat, we'd love to hear your opinions on CZ getting pardoned. That's pretty insane.
Yeah, pretty wild. Next thing that has happened here lately is we had the US Treasury buying back $1.9 billion of its own debt. And this is something that is, well, technically not really new. The Treasury has been doing this throughout the year and even in recent years. I think the scale and the magnitude of this and kind of the fact that it is repeatedly happening is something that is a little bit concerning in the United States. This meme here says Chris Paul hits a huge three to cut the lead down to 42.
That's hilarious. So basically, what they're saying is like effort to do nothing kind of deal. Like there's so much more going on,
Yeah,
a lot more to come
exactly.
back from.
Exactly. And so, anyways, guys, just something to keep an eye on here. We're seeing the Treasury step in to buy its own debt back, which is not very good look for the future of the United States and the liquidity of the system here. Um, okay, cool. So let me move on to the next news story, unless you have anything else you want to say about that.
So could you explain to someone who's not as well versed in markets as you are, like why is that news in general? Why is that a bad thing? Give us the behind the scenes a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, the truth is, I'm not going to be able to give you anything super massive here. The Treasury buying back its own debt is a bad sign because the Treasury should be selling its debt to other people, right? Other people should be buying debt. And if they're buying their own debt back, it's probably because there's not much demand for the
A
debt.
market.
So that's my like first principles thinking take on that
Got
rather
it. Yeah.
than
Yeah.
market
Yeah.
mechanic thinking.
That's more what I was asking for anyway. So that makes total sense. Yeah, it's definitely not a act of like power or dominance. It's more so smells of desperation or necessity. So yeah, totally good point there. What's the next news story you got for me?
So funny enough, the next big thing is that the U.S. national debt actually just hit $38 trillion.
Do you ever see that? Did you ever check out that running number that they have?
Like the debt clock?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Where
Yeah,
it goes
yeah,
up and up.
yeah, man. It was
38 trillion.
it was a much bigger deal, earlier this
During
year
Doge, right?
as when we were looking at the whole Doge situation, it was like, "Is this happening?" And they actually had the Doge clock. Yeah, they have it on here, which is super
Hmm.
interesting. How much money did Doge actually save versus where the US national debt actually is? And it is pretty fun to sit here and watch this. Like, you can sit here for a few seconds and watch it go up 1 million, you know?
Yeah.
You're like,
It's
"Oh,
all fake, but it impacts real lives. That's the scariest part is that they're fake numbers being controlled by people we don't even understand or know, but they impact real people, which is the worst part about all of it. But the debt is basically a reflection of all of the pain that a lot of people is feeling right now and people trying to navigate economically to deal with that problem, which we've talked about before. Some people have speculation that crypto is going to play a big role in that, changing the whole system. We have China positioning their way to go for more of a gold backed currency too. So crazy shit is changing, and that's going to result in crazy levels of change for human beings in our day to day life and how we conduct ourselves within an economy. So the core episode today is all about UBI, but we got a few more good news stories here. What's the next one you got for me?
Yeah, there's some juicy stuff going on out here. We had Trump's admin did a $20 billion bailout for Argentina in the past few weeks. It's been talked about, but I think the deal was actually inked on Tuesday after we had filmed our episode. And so essentially what happened here is that the US has created what's called a swap line for Argentina, which is essentially being equated to a bailout. Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary of the United States, has continued to claim, hey, this isn't a bailout. We are simply lending money to our friends. And there's a lot of controversy around this because the major thing is that like the reason that this is happening is because of some of the farming industry being destabilized in Argentina. And so to back up, let's talk about what a currency swap line actually is. So essentially, it's an agreement between two central banks to exchange currencies, providing a way for one central bank to access foreign currency liquidity to support its domestic financial system. So, as an example, the Fed can lend US dollars to a foreign central bank in exchange for that country's currency. The foreign central bank can then provide these dollars to its domestic commercial banks, and the two central banks agree to reverse that transaction on a specified future date at the same exchange rate plus interest.
Dang.
So the problem is this. The bailout has sparked some controversy with farmers because the US is essentially doing this to help bail out Argentina. There's a little bit of a thing here. So we have China, the US, and Argentina. China stopped purchasing American soybean amid the trade war with the United States. And now China has been the largest buyer of American soybeans. And so when this trade war started happening, they actually started buying from Argentina instead. And so this idea that the United States is bailing out Argentina, right? And essentially supporting their farming industry and the fact that they're supplying their stuff to China, right, is technically like you're funding the enemy.
Mm,
Like you're funding the people that are supporting China. So why would you do that? And the farmers here are like, this hurts us, the policies that you put in place. So for you to create these policies that hurt us and then you go and give Argentina money when they're the ones who are taking our business away is absolutely ridiculous.
mhm.
So, anyways, that's kind of some of the controversy around all of that. And it's pretty wild in general. You don't see these swap lines happening unless there's a real emergency.
Yes.
So we saw this happen, I think, in like late 2023. Japanese reverse carry trade was kind of unwinding. I think we had a swap line there. I think some of that happened when the Swiss National Bank was going under. There was a swap line that was created around that event. And I could be wrong about some of that. But anyways, usually in a very, very bad emergency. And Argentina has had a very tumultuous time with their new president.
Yes.
Some love
He
him,
launched
some
a
hate him.
he launched a meme coin, didn't he?
Yeah, he even launched a whole meme coin.
Yeah.
That was a whole phenomenon with Voidzilla, Coffeezilla, and having the guy who did that on. And that was
Yes.
really funny because dude literally like exposed himself and like he was like, yeah, we were trying to max extract. I think he
Yeah.
said that like on the podcast.
It's crazy. Yeah, it's insane what people say on live shit, but it's, yeah, so with that, it's important to note that that's exactly it's a symptom of the time. Like they do these things because not because they want to, but because they have to. Another thing that's more on the meme side for it is that around the same time, people have been going crazy on TikTok and Twitter saying that Barron Trump shut down multiple floors of the Trump Tower to have a date with his partner, and they're from Argentina as well. So
Oh,
like there's a lot of and that could be conspiracy, that could be BS. I have no idea, but I've been seeing people talk about that a lot on TikTok. So I figured I'd bring it up because it's related. So yeah, what a flex. Shutting down multiple floors of the Trump Tower for a date. Like that's whoever that person is that they went on a date with,
oh yeah.
that's a lot to live up to.
Oh yeah. No, he's killing the game in that category, no doubt.
Definitely crazy. So what else do we have for news?
Yeah. So one of the next things that I wanted to show, and by the way, guys, we are not getting paid for this. This is not sponsored, but I think it's worth sharing and talking about. So Coinbase and American Express just launched a Coinbase One card in the US, offering up to 4% back on all purchases. 4%
Wow.
Bitcoin back. Okay. So the reason I feel like this is news is because this is like the second one of these that we've gotten in the past, I'd say 90 days. Jim and I also launched a card very recently. And it seems that now we have this kind of push towards the traditional credit and banking systems starting to offer these types of products, recognizing the high demand for this. Because quite frankly, like this is by far one of the best types of credit cards that you could ever have.
Yeah,
There's no, I saw some chart about this. I wish I had it, where like the returns that you're going to get for the cash back on Bitcoin,
that's
like
crazy.
there's no comparison.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? To what you could get from your credit card points to go you get some flight miles or
yeah.
hotel points. Like, no, 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 no. You're talking about an appreciating asset that compounds at 30% compound annual growth rate that you're getting 4% back on for something you're already spending money on.
That's a very good proposition. I'm honestly gonna look into this further. The only thing that scares me is offering up to 4%.
Yeah.
That scares me. There's probably a ton of fine print where most of it's probably 1 or 2, but still the fact that it's in an appreciating asset.
So there is fine print on this, and people were calling it out immediately. It's 2% uh, tip for everyone else, but 4%, I think if you hold, it was like $250,000 on Coinbase. So that's
Got
the
it.
stipulation is how much do you hold on Coinbase? And let's see if anyone, yeah, if you hold a certain amount of assets on Coinbase, oops.
So it's just assets. It doesn't need to be anything in particular.
Yeah, technically it could be cash. You don't have to put your crypto on there. It could be USDC, to be
Cool.
fair. But the reason, by the way, for anyone that that's such an issue is like people are wanting to hold their crypto off of these exchanges because you can hold, you can self custody your crypto. And so if you're giving your crypto to Coinbase just to make sure that you can get this 4%, well, now all that crypto is potentially at risk if anything happens to Coinbase, right? So anyways, I think that's pretty much that.
Are you gonna pick up one of those cards?
I'm definitely going to. I think the best time to use that kind of stuff, it's not that like the thing is like, so even if the percent isn't 4%, even if it's 2%, even if it's 1%, like you're
Mm.
still not going to be able to compete with that reward.
No, it's like a forced savings account too, basically,
Mhm.
because it's going into Bitcoin, which is something that you should be dollar cost averaging into anyways. And now if you just don't even have to think about it, that's a massive win. Like I would absolutely love that. I use my credit card to run my entire business. So yeah, I'm gonna look into it. Oh, I bet you it's not available in Canada. We always have that shit. We always have that.
Not available in Canada, and then like New York for some reason gets left out of everything.
Yeah.
Which I mean, there's a reason for it. The NYDFS just does not like
Hard to
crypto,
deal with.
and obviously Wall Street plays a role in that. So, anyways, one quick meme that I wanted to share. So, CZ, I think the other day he posted something about gold won't go to zero, but Bitcoin is even better. And C2M Trading said, list it on Binance and it'll wick there eventually. And for anyone who doesn't get it, the idea is that like Binance just had this massive liquidation event where the wicks of the candles or price essentially went down really low in a flash instant and then came back up. So the joke is that if you list gold on Binance, it might actually wick all the way down to zero at some point because of the liquidation types of events that occur and all the
Totally.
technical issues that they've had. So anyways, I think that's it for the news today, man.